Please call my office at 631-582-3232 or visit my website at www.macdunlaw for an immediate appointment. Please call my office at 631-582-3232. Good evening, everybody. This is Bob Mastoni. We're back here with Street Legal. We are here every Thursday night, 6 p.m. on 103.9 LI News Radio. My firm name, Mastonio and Duncan. We're located at 126 Carlton Avenue, Islip Terrace, 631-582-3232. And I am here with my co-host, Link.
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be with y'all. Glad to have y'all with us.
Yes, welcome back. And, we try to pick up topics each week that, the listeners want to listen to and on your ride home or wherever you may be listening. But Link, I'm going to do a little something different this week.
Okay.
I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to play co-host. You can play You can play host this week.
All right.
Let's see. Let's flip the script a little bit and then and see what we can come up with.
All right. Well, I'm gonna see what I learned from you so far.
Let's see what you learned. I learned a lot from you too. So don't get me wrong.
Okay. So well, I want to cover a couple things. Okay. Since introducing me as your host this week. So, of course, I want to go over, we got the election, so I want to discuss politics. I want to cover that.
Yeah.
We had the men's talk last week.
Men's talk last week in Wine. So, for those of you out there that don't know what that was, we had the first of what we hope is going to be, on a regular basis, a men's talk conference, which was located in Wyandanch, and we had, several prominent, members from the Wyandanch community and guests as well as panelist members, and I was
right. Hold on, because you jumping ahead. You back to hosting. We're gonna get back into that though, because I do want to jump right into that. But I also want to get into community expectations, because you always ask me that question. You always say, well, what responsibilities does the community have to itself, right?
Correct.
And I think I used to be offended by that question because I think I was overlooking other things and like wanting to point the finger and blame. I think Jaron Nixon helped us to kind of answer that.
Did help a lot.
He helped to answer that.
You know why I asked about the community? Because I think back to, which I believe, taking politics out of the picture, one of the greatest presidents we've had in this country, John F. Kennedy Jr., JFK.
Right.
Not Jr., JFK. And what his speech, in one of his inauguration speeches, what he says was, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you could do for your country.
Right.
And that mentality has seemed to have gone away from us, because now we have people in politics that's so infiltrated on asking, what can the government do for me?
Right.
That attitude is going to bring this country down.
Of course it is, because we're supposed to be working to build the country, not the country working to build us.
Correct.
And last
and the
but
government
not least,
is us.
Yeah, we make it up. But last but not least, I want to get into the candidates' promises. Okay, so and how we got to hold them accountable for those. All right, so I want to start off by since this is Street Legal, I want to just have you answer a couple basic questions for viewers who might not even know. Like,
gonna put me on the spot now?
No, this is simple stuff.
Are these easy enough legal questions that even David can answer them?
Well, David is not licensed, so I can't have the listeners listening to David's advice.
All right, good.
All right, so let's say you get arrested, and you at a bar, you have an argument or whatever, and the argument get out of hand, right? Push come to shove, cops come, this guy says you assaulted them, they take you away. What's next, and what should you do or not do if you find yourself in a situation like that?
What do you mean, what's next? So you're already arrested. You're under arrest.
They locking you up for assault because this guy says you beat him up.
So somebody's obviously given a statement that you've assaulted them, and the cops now have probable cause to arrest you.
Right.
Okay. First thing you do is do not give your side of the story to the cops, because they've already come to the conclusion, the decision, they have probable cause to arrest you. You're not going to be unarrested.
Okay.
So what you don't want to do is give a statement trying to talk your way out of it and lock yourself into that statement, because you're in a bar, you probably have some kind of intoxication, level of intoxication to you. You're not in your right mind.
Right.
You don't know whether there are witnesses that witness certain events. You don't know if there is video. So if you give a statement, it may contradict what the video shows, what the witnesses say.
Right.
So if you're going to start preparing a defense, you want to see what the prosecution has against you before you start preparing a defense. If you give a statement, you're now locked into that statement.
Got it. Okay, so it's that if whatever you say could be used against you, so just shut up.
100%. Even if the cop is trying to be friendly, tell me what happened, you're already under arrest. You're not going to be unarrested. It's very, very, very rare that you hear of a story where a person was arrested, gave his side of the story, and the cop says, you know what, you're right. We take your side, we're going to let you go. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Contrary to what the cop's going to tell you, it does not happen. You do not get unarrested.
Okay. Another question, right? What does it mean when the county clerk says, or the court clerk says, the defendant scores a 7 or a 5 or whatever, and how do they arrive at those numbers?
Okay, that used to be what they called ROR score. That was the basis. Probation department would interview you in the back of lockup, which, you know, for those who don't, when you get arrested, you're brought to a local police station, and then in the morning, wherever you may be located, you're transported to the, you know, courthouse to be arraigned.
Right.
Probation department would interview you and come up with what they call ROR score. You know, 0 being 0, or you can even have a -1, -2, and 10 or even 11 being a perfect score. That was your risk to return back to court. Now, under the new bail reform, those ROR score numbers have been taken away.
They don't use it.
They don't use the ROR scores anymore, because now what you have is a list of crimes that are bail eligible, cash bail eligible, and crimes that are not cash bail eligible. So whether or not your ROR is a 0, a 10, they don't use that number anymore.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now it's strictly just bail eligible, not bail eligible.
Right. Okay. That was always a question I had.
Yeah, I mean, and that's you know, those numbers were very, you know, all over the place. You could score a 10 today, 6 tomorrow. It's really subjective to the person interviewing you, and what you list down is who your contacts are. Could they get a hold of the person? Do you have a job? You know, it's a lot of factors that went into that.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's say you get pulled over, right, and an officer asks to search your vehicle. How should you answer that, and what are your options?
You do not have to consent to search your vehicle.
Right.
You do not.
So how do you go about that?
I'm not consenting to the search of this vehicle.
Right. But they usually, from what I know, escalate that when you do that. They're like, oh, we'll call the dogs out.
Okay, then call the dogs out.
Right. But you just, all right.
If there's something in the car.
Yeah. Let's say it's not, but you just don't want them searching your car. Like, I'm tired of you thinking
let them call the dogs out. Let them call the dogs out.
Right. Okay.
Let them do what they got to do. Ask for a supervisor to come down to the scene. Record the interaction with the police officer, so you know what's going on. Which is going to have, you know, we're going to have body cams coming into the police department on a basis that be instituted now. So more and more cops each day, each month are getting body cams on. So we're going to have elimination a lot of this.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good then, because that means a lot of it is happening because we don't have surveillance.
Correct.
All right. If you feel as though your rights have been violated, or officer has overstepped his authority, what should you do? And is reporting the officer an intelligent option?
If you feel your rights have been violated, the police department has an internal affairs bureau, which you can make a complaint, and they will go out and interview the parties involved, you, the officer, any other witnesses that may be, and they will come up with a conclusion or a decision on whether or not they believe your rights were violated.
And in most cases,
in most cases, it's the police policing the police. So we understand what goes on.
When you file a complaint, that usually make it real bad for you in the neighborhood you're from, though, because they all tell each other about it, and then they start like being kind of
they start really
digging into you. Like every time you pull off your block, they pull you over, something like that. Going
back to the body cams, I think that's going to eliminate a lot of that, because the statistics prove in jurisdictions that have body cams, the police complaints of excessive force or violation of civil rights have gone way down, because you now have a recording of that. The cop knows he's being recorded. The person knows that the incident is being recorded. So there's going to be less, anger and less agitation going on in the situation.
Yeah, a lot of those situations probably won't happen or be so intense like that, because it's all being witnessed like by this camera.
It's going to be a little more respectful on both sides.
Right. And for any of the cops who like to enjoy our show and who listen in, this is not a cop bashing show. No, not at all. We're just trying to advise the listeners of their rights, while we have an attorney here to ask these questions too. So what do you think are the top 3 rights that every civilian should know?
Yeah, the right to remain silent.
Okay.
Number 1.
Okay.
You have a right to an attorney.
Okay, so Miranda rights.
And I don't know, the third one?
You have a right to get the best lawyer you can and get yourself about that situation.
That's correct. Remember, you want to stay free.
Call BOB.
Yeah, those 2 things. So if there's police interaction, like I said, you have a right to get an attorney, whether or not you committed a crime or not. Even if you're a witness to a crime, you have the right to consult with and retain an attorney to represent you. And that will then put the buffer between yourself, the police department, and or the prosecution. It's the same goes when you have an attorney. The district attorney's office has to go through your attorney as opposed to just contacting the witness. We represent numerous witnesses to various crimes that take place, and they get an attorney because it takes the stress and the pressure off of them dealing directly with the police officer or the prosecutor. For various crimes, from low-level crimes to homicides.
You walked me through a lot of it, man. Without you, I don't know how I would have got through it.
So this is Bob Mastonio. We're here with Street Legal. We're here every Thursday night, 103.9 LI News Radio. We'll be back after a few short messages from our sponsors. Thank you.
Want to stay free?
You got to call BOB. 631-582-3232. 3232. Welcome back. This is Bob Macedonio. We are here with Street Legal every Thursday night, 6 p.m. on 103.9 LI News Radio. My firm name, Macedonio & Duncan, 126 Carlton Avenue, Islip Terrace, 631-582-3232. And we'll pick up, like I said earlier, we're going to let Link play host tonight, and I'm going to play co-host and guest.
Okay.
Go ahead, Link.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm just asking some basic questions so that the listeners who may or may not know these things, like they may be common sense to people who get into trouble, but if you find yourself getting into trouble and you have no experience with it.
Everybody gets in trouble for that first time, Link.
Right.
The first time.
Right.
That's honestly, that's probably the scariest time. Because, some people get in trouble on a regular basis, and, it is what it is. It is what it is. They know the rights more than I do sometimes.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for my bologna sandwich at some point. That's what it is.
They still do bologna in the back?
I don't know. It's been a few years now, so I can't speak on it.
Is it Boar's Head, you think, or not?
Nah, definitely not Boar's Head. Not Boar's Head. But all right, let's say you come across an officer who confuses himself to be the law instead of the enforcer of the law, right? Like and he believes that any command he gives you is lawful, right? What do you do in that situation?
Okay, you go. It's a difficult situation for a police officer, okay?
Right.
Because they have a job. Their eyes are all around their heads. Situations they're coming upon, they are evaluating, and they're really worried about their safety as well as the safety for others.
Right.
So if a police officer, you would assume there's going to be bad apples in every industry, whether there's lawyers, doctors, judges, police officers. You assume that he's doing it for a particular purpose that is rightful and lawful.
Right.
So if he's giving that order, you're going to have to abide by that order, or else you're going to be charged with obstructing governmental administration, resisting arrest, or something else that hindering some crime, assuming the order is reasonable and fair. I don't.
All right. And how do civilians know a lawful command as opposed to a command?
Like if there's a crime scene, step back. If there's, they don't want you photographing too close to the thing, or if the person's being, arrested or detained or questioned, and other people are coming up trying to get to that person, the officer's always concerned about his safety and the safety of others.
So step back. Those are kind of all right.
Those are
all right. So some common sense ones. All right. So
and car stops are very dangerous situations for officers also.
Right. Speaking on car stops,
many police officers are killed and or injured during car stops.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most dangerous one.
That and domestic.
Right.
Domestic.
Because you're talking about enraged people. All right, so I'm driving along and cop pulls me over, and for whatever reason, he suspects that I've been drinking or I'm high on something, whatever the case is. I don't really know how to combat that outside of following the test that he tells me. I follow him, he locks me up, and he says that I'm under the influence of something or that I've been drinking.
That comes out to, it's like, again, I'm doing this 30 years.
Right.
And if a cop or a police officer pulls you over for suspected of DWI or driving under the influence of drugs, there's probable cause for that stop.
Right.
So then when they come up to the car, if they're going to ask you to step out of that car and start performing tests, you don't have to do it. You can refuse to take those tests.
Right. Well, okay.
Number one, you do not have to submit to any what they call field sobriety tests. You do not. And again, going back to what I was saying earlier, talking yourself out of an arrest, it's very rare, if at all, I've ever seen of a person being pulled over, conducting field sobriety tests, and then let go.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your very, very, very rare to come across it. So
refuse the test, refuse to talk.
If you know that you've been drinking, you know that you've had some kind of intoxicant in your system, whether drugs or whatever it may be, you can refuse all tests.
Okay.
Now there is ramifications for that, because any refusal, your driving privileges are going to be suspended or revoked in the state of New York.
Automatically,
just for refusing to take the test. Even if your criminal case is later thrown out, the refusal in and of itself is going to be a suspension, revocation.
And what do you do if you have a job in the event that is what happens? You have a job and they suspend your license. Is there anything you can do as far as like your commute? Can you get it like?
No, if on a refusal, you are not eligible for what they call hardship or conditional license to go to and from work or during the course of your employment. A refusal, it's written into the DMV vehicle and traffic laws that a refusal is suspension, revocation comes with that, period.
So you got to beat the case in order to get your license.
It's implied that when you have a driver's license, which is a privilege, it's not a right in the state, that you will consent to any tests to determine your intoxication if you're operating that vehicle on a public highway in the state of New York.
Right. If a cop has a suspicion. All right. Correct. That's cool.
And they must have probable cause.
Yeah.
And if you're also entitled, if you get arrested, to a hearing.
Yeah.
Through an administrative law judge in the Department of Motor Vehicle to determine whether or not there was probable cause for that stop.
Right.
Probable cause to administer the test, and whether or not it was a valid refusal. Were you read your warnings properly and understood what the ramifications were going to be if you refused?
Oh, so that does play a part then.
Correct. That's part of it. So you're not refusing blindly. The cop has to read set warnings that are put out, in writing. You have to initial them and understand, if I refuse, these are the ramifications for refusing.
So that you understand the consequences if you do refuse. Okay, that's cool. Correct. All right. So I guess my last question that I have on this, because I'm excited about getting into this men's talk. My last question is, if you can't afford the kind of representation that you really need, and you don't like what's going on with legal aid that they've assigned you, what options do you have as far as like obtaining maybe not counsel as good as you, because of course you would need money for that, but what's your next option if legal aid is just like giving you that vibe like they're not helping you out? Well, the Bar Association does have pro bono lawyers that can handle stuff. Your options are limited, if your resources are limited. That's why they have, legal aid and AT&B lawyers that are out there for the people that are unable to, personally finance their legal defense. The state affords you the opportunity to have representation, not the representation of your choice. Yeah, that's true. Because you have to be represented. So if you have a legal aid, is there a way that you can say you're not satisfied with legal aid as a department and they give you AT&B, or they just give you a different legal aid? I mean, I've seen it happen. If you make enough complaints, you form a conflict with legal aid, they will appoint an AT&B lawyer. But there's not a legal way of happening it. They do get off the cases when there's enough problems. Right, okay. Yeah, I mean. All right, so we could get into whatever you wanted to talk about right now, because I just wanted to get into the men's talk and how proud I am of the people. We're good. I'm glad you asked those legal questions, because a lot of people don't know what happens if you get pulled over for DWI, or if you get pulled into a traffic stop and you got guns or drugs in the trunk of your car, what your rights are. Right. A lot of people don't know the answers to that. Yeah. They don't. You do not have to consent to a search, and you do not have to answer the officer's questions. So you're almost better off not. Like any information that they would absolutely need from you would be on your license anyway, right? Correct. Right. So they wouldn't really need you to answer anything outside of that, because anything else after that is situational, and you can get yourself in trouble by, like you said, locking yourself into a statement already. Or correct. Yeah. So, all right. So go ahead, lead it up, Link. Lead it up here. What we want to get into the men's talk. We had a good conference last week, and I had a chance to meet Ray Tierney. Our new Suffolk District Attorney, for those of you who don't know out there, Ray's in his first year of office in Suffolk County, is elected District Attorney, and honestly, good dude, man. The vibes I got from him was like he really want to help with the problems that start out before you get to jail. Like before jail is the final outcome. He's willing to work with the people like in a way that I've never seen any district attorney work with, especially a group like Wyandanch who put it together. And this time, it really was a lot more organized and a lot more goal-focused than what it was. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was very impressed with the way that it went, the way the panel was set up, with everybody's answers, even with the questions, even the way that it was hosted and moderated, thanks to you, because you moderated. Thank you. That was your capacity there. It was great. He did a great job. I think that a lot got covered. So my favorite part of the night, I believe, is when I heard, it's crazy too, because I heard Ray Tierney say that he believed that he could get a lot further faster if he didn't consider the people around him. As he was saying that, right, I was like, wow, because I really did cut a lot of people out of my circle on this journey that I'm on trying to get there faster. And what he had said was, he probably could have gotten there. It probably would have taken more time, but he would have had less people upset with him and a more supportive circle. And so that's something I took away from there that I thought was imperative. The way you explain how mental health and the mistreatment of it or the misdiagnosis of it could lead to self-medication. It does. It does. Yeah, that was a big one, because I never had considered that. Like, people self-medicate because the problems they haven't been prescribed the proper medication for it. Right. And honestly, a lot of them have never seen a doctor, have never had treatment, and they're just trying to get through daily life. Right. And so, like, that was another piece of the puzzle I didn't put together. Think back to put it in limbo. How many people smoke weed for anxiety or stress? Right.
Okay?
Right.
If you were properly treated with medicine, you would never got into the weed, and the weed leads to this, and it just gets
right. The whole rabbit hole goes deeper. And I think another great part of the night was when I heard James Crawford, who was school board trustee.
Your school board trustee for Wyandanch, many of us don't know out there.
Right.
We'll be back. This is Bob Mastonio, Street Legal, every Thursday night, 103.9 LI News Radio. We'll be back after a few short minutes. Remember, you want to stay free.
Call B.O.B.
Thank you. We are back. This is Bob Mastonio. We're here with Street Legal, 103.9 LI News Radio. And go ahead, Link. We'll pick up, where we're just talking about the men's talk we had the other night in Wyandanch. And some of the items that were brought out and good points, bad points, how you think the community, interacted with us and actually received the DA. There was, one gentleman, I'm not going to use any names, got a little aggressive or agitated that it almost seemed like, hey, we needed permission to come into his hood and have these discussions.
I mean, that usually is the energy that you get in one. And the reason why like that is so not offensive to me and so expected is because that is like a Wyandanch way of thinking. Like, how you going to have something concerning my community and not have me here when I mean so much to my community and my community means so much to me, right? And I'm not saying that all those people have always known the right thing to do in order to do the right thing for their community.
Yeah.
But they've always had an interest. And he's always, since I've known him, has always had a sincere interest. But the way he did it was, I got to say, was you can't come into a meeting like that.
I give Ray Tierney a lot of credit, to brand new DA.
Right. Yeah.
First term in office, coming in to what we call the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
Like he put it, what I forgot the percentage he put, but the overwhelming majority of the guns in Suffolk County are coming from a few communities, Wyandanch being one of them. Yeah. And Ray's coming in there because he cares. Yeah. He's not a politician. Ray has had a great career as a prosecutor federally.
A really good guy. Like, that's all I can say about him. He's a really good guy.
He's coming in there because he cares about solving problems, because his 13-year-old in his neighborhood and the 13-year-old in Wyandanch neighborhood getting killed on the street by gunfire is going to affect the DA. It doesn't matter. It's a kid getting killed. Yeah. And if he can prevent that, he's going to prevent that.
Yeah, he's got to see pictures we don't have to see.
The question becomes, why doesn't the community step up and want to prevent that as much as the DA or some of the people sitting on the panel do?
And that's one of the conversations I wanted to have today, because I was just sitting there thinking, and I'm like, in my neighborhood and neighborhoods like mine, we consider like the shooter somebody that we hold in high regard. Like the killer of a person, we hold them in high regard. Like, and I think that in doing that, we're not considering the pain that this person inflicted and how many different people this person is hurt by doing this. And so in my community, when we get this, not saying I'm ever going to condone snitching, or because I'm really did the street life for real. But what I'm saying is, we can't have this shut mouth policy to where if a person knows if they kill a person, nothing's going to be said about it, because there's no reason to stop killing people if we already know the community going to shut up about it.
We got to get past that point. Like I said the other night at the panel,
right?
What is in the mindset of the 13-year-old or even his parents or the brothers and sisters that he has to carry a gun to get out of his house to feel safe,
right?
And where does he get the gun from?
Probably his older brother got locked up, left it under his bed. So,
like, I'm telling you, 55 years old, okay, practicing criminal defense my 30 years. I have many, many, many clients. I would be hard pressed to go out and find a gun tonight, more so than a 13-year-old on the streets of Wyandanch.
Yeah, I think
that in and of itself
is a 13-year-old
problem.
Anywhere, because you have to think about this too. Like, how did this message of everybody being a shooter, a gangster, a killer get spread so fast, right? Like, how is it that just think about it, back 95, 2000 to 2005 even, and before that, you had people that you knew to be the shooters in your neighborhood, right? It was like,
now anybody could be a shooter.
Everybody is a shooter, and this is what I'm always saying about that message gets transferred through the music. There's no way everybody could all of a sudden just be in alignment to be a gangster. You know what I mean?
It's the message. Listen, you can't blame the music, or you blame the music, blame the media, blame everything. But there's something that's going on in that community, in that household. And I'm not just blaming Wyandanch. We have this going on in many, communities of why having a gun at that young age is okay.
The music told them to go do that. And it's crazy because it's like, the one thing that is really the problem, nobody wants to look at. It's like, yo, stop him, panic. Let's panic. He's saying what the truth is. Let's all like look past that. We don't want to view that, bro. It's the music. It is the strongest message that exists.
But the music's coming from people in the same community, though.
Exactly. But that's the only kind of music that's being pushed is the negative music. To go kill him. Your girl is a B word. She's of no value. Like pick her up, hit it, drop her off.
This hoe, that hoe.
Right. Mess with your man's girlfriend, like bag her. So this is the messaging in the music. And if this is the strongest messaging we having, and in this messaging, this is what the message is. That got spread out. This is why it's gangsters everywhere. This is why it's shooters and killers everywhere.
Where did that start? Because you have the black and minority communities are good, God-fearing, loving people, families. Church on Sunday. That is the basis for it. If you go back, like we brought up in other shows, you go back to slavery. They went to church. They respected everything. So it wasn't. You can't. So some point in time,
it's the all right when the music industry decided that intellectual music will no longer be put out. So your Nas. Right, and your Jay-Z and your Black Thought and all these artists who had something to contribute intellectually in music, their voices were quieted.
Okay, but let me stop you there because about 70% of your music sales when hip hop first came out was to white middle class kids, and you didn't have that violence popping up in the white middle class, and a lot of point of times they blame video games too. So. Some point in time, you got to look in the mirror and say, we got to do better.
But this is our teaching tool. We're talking about music is our teaching tool. Look what we're teaching them with it. So it's like going to a school all day, looking at guns on a chalkboard, clips and different varieties of different weapons, and not expecting this kid to take this in as lessons. How else would a 13-year-old in a place that is not too crazy know to carry a gun? Like that's what he.
Where's the 13-year-old getting a gun?
These are all good questions.
Getting the gun.
It's like many ways of getting your hands on a firearm, though. Like everybody who's outside, if you're really outside in the streets, there's so many different ways to get weapons, right? Including knowing somebody with a 3D printer who prints them out. So I think the accessibility is an issue, but I think the messaging and what people think they're supposed to do with those weapons is a bigger issue, And if we could get the kind of music coming in where, it's uplifting and there's love in the music and it's not everything is I hate you and we divided because you this gang and I'm this gang and I'm 63rd block and you 60 block. Like if we could change that thinking, we could get a lot of this out of the way.
Listen, but where's the mom? Where's the dad? Where's the big brother? Where's the aunt? Where's the grandma saying, to this kid, do not leave this house with a gun. Don't come into this house with a gun. It's okay. Like where is that?
I'm right here. And I'm telling you, my biggest obstacle is the music. My son was shot. You know that, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he returned fire, right? Because not only did the person who shot him get brainwashed by that, my son was brainwashed to the point where he actually shot him back. They shot each other the same day.
A cop-out is blaming the music. I really do. Again, you're passing responsibility off to something else as opposed to that person or that family or that group community taking responsibility for itself.
As soon as the music industry realized that there was money in this and that this could also be used for divisiveness and all this is what they focused on. They would not let if you turn on the radio right now to a black station and you turn on any song, someone's going to die in that song in 30 seconds from the time you started listening to it. You think I'm lying?
No, but you go back to the 60s and you had Charles Manson. You're going to blame the music too?
I think that he had influences.
Look
at this guy. Look at Jeffrey Dahmer. Why did he start doing that? Oh, his dad showed him how to take apart roadkill. So yes, you are directly influenced by your influences. Yes.
Yeah, listen, I just think blaming music puts the responsibility off onto something else. You have to, as a family, as a community, take responsibility for your children.
So why not? To. So if I'm wrong, right? Well, I think.
But you play music,
right?
White kids listen just as much, if not more, to hip hop than black kids.
And I guarantee you, the shootings in white neighborhoods, whites on whites thinking they gangsters, have gone up.
No,
I'm telling you, I looked it up this morning.
So why isn't the gun possessions up? Because they're buying overwhelming majority of the hip hop music that's coming in white neighborhoods. Right. They're buying it.
But the white kids not coming out with like guns because they need them on them. It's not that kind of a thing. Like when they get into a problem, they go get the gun and go shoot the person. That is what white kids been doing that for a long time.
I think the access to guns. I think the access to guns is a lot less in the white neighborhoods.
I think it's more because you have law enforcement officers who look like the people in your neighborhood. So if Jesse father is the cop, you can go knock on Jesse's door, and when the pop's asleep, y'all can play with his gun. Like all kind of stuff can happen. So I think you actually get access at a younger age in a white neighborhood than you would in a black neighborhood. In the black neighborhood, the gun is put up, is hidden. They think it's going to raid, and But I think that you grew up. Your dad was a cop. How easy was it for you to grab his gun and go do something if you wanted to?
Very easy. I never did.
Right, but that doesn't mean that the accessibility wasn't there, and you weren't brainwashed. Right, your brain was being directed towards education, towards becoming a lawyer, towards becoming a productive member of society. Now we're talking about people whose minds is being taken.
Yeah, but I think
completely off that.
I think there's a few bad apples in these minority communities that are really getting into the minds in these kids and giving them access to this stuff.
I wish it was that easy.
As opposed to looking up to them, as opposed to the family members. This is Street Legal. We are here every Thursday, 103.9 LI News Radio. I'm Bob Macedonio, and remember, you want to stay free.
Call BOB
631-582-3232. 3232. Thank you. We're back in a few short minutes. Welcome back. Bob Macedonio. We're here with Street Legal every Thursday night, 103.9 LI News Radio. My firm name, Macedonio & Duncan, 126 Carlton Avenue, Islip Terrace, 631-582-3232. When you want to stay free,
call BOB.
Okay, so let's pick up where we were. I am of the opinion, and again, doing this 30 years in criminal defense in Suffolk County, that the minority communities need to take more responsibility for the crimes that are going on in their community. They really have to. Instead of just pushing the buck off, blaming somebody else, blaming rap music, blaming slavery, blaming rap music, blaming slavery, blaming the government, blaming this. There has to be more responsibility for what goes on.
I guess.
They really have to.
But let's just say when Wu-Tang came out, all of a sudden everybody wanted to be a 5%er. Hey, let's think about it. Let's think about the influences, right? When Nas came out, all of a sudden everybody wanted to speak intellectually. Right? When KRS-One was out, everybody wanted to act like they knew the roots to Africa. Right? So that directly shows me how music impacts each generation.
But think about that right there.
Right.
If music is going to influence you that much, that means you're lacking on something else influencing you.
I think that...
Okay, so you understand? If you're letting...
No.
Yeah.
No, because if we're talking about my kids being raised in great homes... Right, we're not talking about them being raised in like it's a rat running down the hallway. We got roaches or the paint's peeling. Or we're not talking about that. We're talking about the moldings are nice. We're talking about the lawn is cut. We're talking about very, very nice, right? But we're still talking about me being up against something as influential as music, and all the rest of his friends have already been possessed by it like some crazy spirit.
But where's the guidance? Where's the people saying, "Hey, this is music. This isn't reality. This is this is not what life's about."
There's too many people. There's too many people actually living the music out.
You have to be, in school. You have to be an educator.
Oh, you don't really want the answer.
Yeah, come on.
No, listen, it's too many people living out the music for you to say it's not the music. They're living the music out, literally.
Why? The question is why? What are they lacking that they're going to live out music?
It's the message.
The message is what?
The message is disrespect women who you date. The message is kill people who look like you if they disrespect you.
Okay, but where's the message from the dad or the father figure in the house? You respect your mother, respect your sisters, respect the women. Where's that message?
You can deliver that message all you want. If he got 100 friends telling him something different than what you're saying, you're one voice as opposed to his 100 demonized friends who've already been possessed by this music.
But why? Why is it infiltrating into their brains as opposed to the positives? Are you saying there's lacking positives or positive reinforcements in these communities?
Do you hear any positive music?
No, but I'm saying forget music.
So you have to stop right there. For a second.
You're saying basically there's an empty space in these kids' heads that's just going to be filled up with negativity.
Right.
So what can we do to fill the empty space so they don't have that room? They don't have that option to be in there.
We can get radio stations together to ban this kind of music. And then we'll see results.
Then we're relying upon the media. We get back to politics. We're relying upon the media to feed us.
We rely upon the media for everything anyway.
We need to stop doing that.
We need to something positive.
We need to stop doing that and stop relying upon our own communities, our own families, our own families. We need to stop relying upon the media because then the government controls the media. That's what's going on.
If you're one of our listeners out there, hopefully I can appeal to you. If you feed people negative messages all day, those people will adopt that message at some point. They be Kunta Kinte long enough. He said he was Toby. It's the messaging.
It's not that bad, but
it's the messaging.
Okay. It's not the messaging. It's not the messaging. You have to, what song did Hitler listen to? Okay.
Oh, some that it wasn't Jewish.
No. What song?
It wasn't a Jew.
People are influenced by messages. What song?
I don't know. Whoever made a I Hate Jew song back then, because he got influenced crazily.
You want to blame all the problems on the minority community.
Well, he got radicalized, right?
No. Listen, let me finish.
Okay,
because since our shows have started, you want to blame all the problems in the minority community on slavery,
Right.
the government,
Okay.
the police,
Right.
now rap music.
Right.
Never once did I hear you ever say, we have to take responsibility for our own actions. You have pushed the buck,
being crushed
blame
by all
somebody
the things
else,
you just named.
blame somebody else on every single.
The parents being crushed by everything you just named. I'm so glad you said them in succession because I probably couldn't have read them off that fast.
Okay, no,
nice.
but I've listened show
That was
after show
actually
after
pretty
show
good.
after
Thank
show.
you.
We've come up with all these
Right.
problems that go on in the minority communities that we're looking to address, and you blamed and pushed the buck down to somebody else's instead of looking in the mirror.
Who do you want to stand up and say, yo, I'm stronger than rap music. I'm stronger than the police. I'm stronger than a government agenda to get rid of you black people.
I want all those people that were there the other night to say, you know what? We've taken, what would it, 50, 75 people in the room?
There is a government agenda to make sure black people don't come into that kind of power. Look at Kanye. Look at Kanye, bro.
Link,
Look, listen.
I love you. I'm not going to agree. I'm not going to agree with this conspiracy theory that is America is formed to keep the black man down. I'm not.
A joke I heard from a Jew, right? He said he was doing stand-up. He says, Kanye, cut it out. So first he starts it off like that. Then he goes, what I really need to do is address the Jewish people. You need to stop. Kanye says, oh, this, that, and third, no banks. Next day, no bank. Kanye says such and such, no media. Next day, no social media. He told the Jews, please calm down. You're not helping much with the conspiracy theories. And that's true, bro. They controlled and limited everything that he was able to do over a few words that he said. The man went from the richest black man that ever lived in the United States of America to being like, R. Kelly might got more money than him right now. That is crazy because he made some what they consider to be anti-Semitic. Right, but he's black and he knows that he's Jewish, right? He knows that he's of the 13 tribes, right? So, okay.
I don't know. Again, you know.
What do you got over there?
Wait, Adidas, I believe, was owned by Nazis?
That was a good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Listen,
Kanye, super intelligent, but also crazy.
Right.
Towed the line. He crossed the line.
Well, I don't. All right, listen.
He has.
I'm not mad at Hitler anymore than I'm mad at the Jews, right? Because everything happened because of radicalization. You can radicalize,
but you're going to say the United States is radicalized to keep the black man down?
They have an agenda. That's different than being radicalized. They are motivated to do that.
Why?
Because the fear of a black planet.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. If that's the motivation, why not let the black community get motivated to push back? They don't.
What do you mean?
Okay, you're saying the government is radicalized to keep the black man down, right?
Right.
Okay, so then why does the black community rely so much upon the government?
Because the government is the only thing in place. They stripped everything else away.
No.
Bro, you can barely find a park in a black town. Why can't we go hoop it up in a black town no more?
Why not?
Why would they take that? Because they take it.
Okay, so why?
So that we can find other things to do that are not so healthy.
Why not come together and say, why don't we have a park? I don't ever hear any people complaining.
Well, right now, we just started to do that thanks to you.
Why? Right now, because of me.
Yeah,
this has been going on for 50, 60 years.
Right, but you saying about a solution now, right? And resolution. We're helping to provide that now.
We had one meeting, but this has been going on for years. And again, we go back to the politics of it.
But it's got to start somewhere, right?
Keep voting Democrat. Keep voting Democrat. Keep voting Democrat.
To me, that's not a wise decision. Okay. You're not going to put that on me like you think I'm a Democrat voter. I went to the polls today and did what I was supposed to do, and I didn't sign nothing blue today. So, anyway,
I think there has to be stop blaming one thing or another.
I cannot, as long as it exists, right? As an actual condition, I cannot stop blaming. I cannot. Hey, guys, what I'm saying is a lie, and none of these things don't exist.
Listen. My legal troubles well known. You can go Google me, whatever you want. Read Newsday, but I can sit back and I can only blame myself for the situations I got myself into. That's it. And so at some point in time,
because you had it to where those pressures weren't put on you. You jumped in that game and didn't have to, right? So that's one. Two, the option for me wasn't the same, because if I had any option, I'd be the owner of a Fortune 500 company, and there's no one who knows me who doubts that.
So I think the options and the opportunities are more for the minority communities than they are for the white community.
I think more so now what you're saying is true, but back then not so much.
The last generation, they really are.
Right. I believe that now. But
I don't think they're taking advantage of it. I think they just make excuse after excuse after excuse.
But they don't know how to take advantage of it too. And it's like putting the game of life in front of somebody and not explaining to them the instructions, right? Like how they're going to play it.
Instead of teaching the child or the high school student how to apply for a college and get student loans and grants in school, they're figuring out, let me have a kid and get a Section 8 house. Why? Why?
I don't think that's the thinking.
No. I hear it over and over and over.
I think that's the conditioning, right?
Where is that coming from? That's not coming from rap music.
What do you mean it's not coming from? They say that. Do you listen to rap?
But the reasons the music's being written about is because it's a learned behavior that already pre-existed.
Bro, people are rapping about their lives.
The reason why they're rapping about killing is because they grew up with people getting killed.
Yeah.
So me
too.
You're putting the chicken before the egg.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you, people rapping about what they see. not
so
rapping it and then doing it. That's not. You got the cycle messed up. You got to mess up how it's working.
They're seeing it and rapping about it. But why are they seeing it in the first place? You blame rap music on it for seeing it in the first place.
No, murders have always been happening. Right?
But why? Why are they happening so much? Why are they happening so much more?
Because rap music. Because rap music now.
But they're rapping about it because they're seeing it. They had to see it first.
Bro, you're not confusing anyone.
Street Legal. We are here every Thursday. 103.9 LI News Radio. We're going to pick this up next week.
We got to.
I'm not letting them off the hook here.
Rap music, people.
They have to start taking some responsibility for their actions. Stop blaming the government.
The music is demon.
Stop blaming the government.
Demon music.
Stop blaming the government. Don't ask, what can government give me? We'll be back next week. It's Bob Mastonio, Street Legal.
Thanks for joining us.
103.9 LI News Radio. We'll be back. Thank you.
You want to stay free?
Call BOB.
Peace.